Hi, Amanda here from Patchwork and Papercraft, and here we go with carrying on with our quilt. Now, so far we have 9 or 10, if you made a spare one, of these snowballed 4 patches. Next, we lay them out, and then we'll see how far we get today. Okay, let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, so all I've done is I've laid them out next to one another on the kitchen floor. Actually, it's the only place I've got that's big enough. But I've got 2 exactly the same next to each other. So I'm going to take that one out and I'm going to swap it for the spare one that I had. So come up a bit, see if I like that. I quite like it. But I've got green in 2 quadrants the same. So I might just turn that one round. Or have I got too much white coming down here? Too much white coming down there, I think. So I'll pop that one in. That look a bit better. Got 2 white ones next to each other. Let's turn that, and I'll have 2 pink ones. Yeah, I don't really like all this pink over here. What should I do? Should I take that one out and try? Yeah, we'll put this one with all the white in. And you carry on and you play around until you get what you like. When you've got it as you like, then we carry on. 3. You don't have to do them all. You can just do one at a time. These aren't properly joined together. They're just roughly put together. We'll put them together properly at the sewing machine in a minute. But this is just so that we know which ones join where. There we go. And then we'll put number 2 on top of number 1. No, on top of number 3. Number 1 on top of number 2. So we've got them all together, and we'll take them to the sewing machine. All right, so we'll take our first set of 3. Right, first set of 3, which are, as we know, joined together like this. Take the first 2. And what we're doing is we're joining the centre seams in exactly the same way as we did when we made the 4 patch. So we're making sure that they butt up against each other nice and straight. And once we've got them together properly, then we're going to put a pin in to hold it. And then we're going to come along a bit. If you've snowballed, join those in exactly the same way so that they go together. And then we pop a pin in. There we go. And then the ends should come together really happily. Do the same on this side. If they don't fit, then there's something gone a little awry. And it's usually because your seams aren't the same size. All right, so we'll join it together. There we go. Put the same. And pin them, and the ends should go together nicely. Now, if it's a little bit bigger on one side, that might be too big to show you actually, but we'll say put it on the bottom, because these things, They're called your feed dogs, and they take more of the bottom fabric than the top, or they can if you let them. All right, so let's join the, make sure our edges are neatly put together. There we go, it wasn't quite together. Set your 1/4 inch and remember, you're not pulling, you're guiding it in gently. Oops. Try and make sure it stays at your 1/4 inch, otherwise you won't measure correctly. The end, make sure they're nice and together at the end. Bring it through, cut it off, and then we have a look at it. And that's what it's meant to look like. Your ends meeting in a nice corner. And that's what happens if they don't quite meet. Now, I'm not worried about that. I'm not bothered in the slightest. This is only for me. And, well, mistakes are part of the game. They shouldn't, of course. They should all meet perfectly. But, well, if they don't, they don't, really. In my eye. Let's try and see if we can get this one a bit closer. Maybe I didn't measure it quite right on that side. So we nest those together. And then we get these. And we nest them together. There we go. And then we get the other side, other end. And we nest them together. There we go. And then you feed it in and stitch it together. And the next stage, once we've done that, is to press all our seams. It does help if you don't trap the cord of your iron. There we go. So we press all the seams. It isn't quite ironing, as I said before. I'm not, well, this is only a small iron, so I can move it along each seam separately. But I'm trying not to distort it, because if you go at it like a bull in a china shop, you'll distort all your seams. And instead of having a nice straight edge, what you'll end up with, I think, is a thing that looks like a banana, which we don't want. Nearly done. Once we've pressed all the seams. This is also when you find where you've made big mistakes. And quite often you go back and take them out and you redo them. But I'm leaving all my mistakes in this one so that you can see them. And see that at the end of the day, even with mistakes, your quilt will look great. There we go. It's all ironed. So that's our quilt centre of our quilt top completed. Next up, we're going to put a border around it. Okay, the next thing I've done is I've cut out some 4-inch wide longer pieces. Nice long pieces. And I'm going to, starting at one corner, all I'm doing is joining it all the way across the top of the quilt top. Again, 1/4 inch And of course you can pin it, or you can gradually ease it in as you go along, you know, just hold it on. Don't pull at it, you'll make it go bananaed. And some people prefer to have it the other way up, so that the solid is underneath. I prefer to do it this way up. Set it on, lay it across the top, bring it on. Okay, and you do that across the top and across the bottom. And having put those on, this is why you only do the top and the bottom. Push it across and iron it down. Push it across and iron it down. A lot of beginners miss this step out, and it's a mistake. You are much better off ironing both sides, because it makes it lie nice and flat. Okay, so I've ironed on both top and bottom, and now all I've got to do is fit another one to the two sides. And you're better off overlapping them slightly bigger than you want, see that, rather than smaller, which is why that one's overhanging as well, so that you can see what you're doing. And then you can pin it on and zoom all the way along, just like before. Here we go. And I'll continue doing this, and I'll show you when I get to the end. And the next step, you've guessed it, use your iron. You don't have to iron, but you get a much better result if you do. You'll come across and I'll iron this side. There we go. Turn it around. Do this side. Bits of thread. Take out little bits of thread as you go. So just to remind you how we're doing this, we're getting to it, we're folding it up, smoothing it out, removing any little bits. I'll cut them off in a moment. And then we're pressing it flat. And if you have a steam iron, give it a good steam at this stage as well. Okay, so having put our border on, we're now going to square the corners. Get a nice big square thing. This is a square ruler. Bring it along so that one edge is along one side and the other edge is along the other side, as close to the edge as you can get it. I think I might have to bring you out just a little bit to show you what I mean. Yep, there we go. So you can see it's meeting that edge, and it meets that one as well. And then we'll quite simply cut off the bits that overhang. It won't be very big, they'll just be little bits down the sides. And what you end up with is a nice square corner. Do that to all four sides. All four corners, I should say. And there we go. Our quilt top is complete. And you can add extra borders if you want, but that's our quilt top. And if you wanted to make that into a quilt for a double bed, do exactly the same thing, another 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 3 times, make it a bigger square, and it would be a throw for a bigger bed. This, of course, being a wall hanging. Okay, so that's that. And next time we'll carry on and we'll turn our quilt top into a quilt.